In keeping with my recent trend of doing video blogs, I figured I would go outside and do something today, showing my neighborhood or my house, where I live, etc. And as you can see, that's just not gonna work. It's pouring down rain outside. So I thought I might just discuss, I don't know, last night. Last night was Martin Luther King Day, which was kind of cool. I drove around the parking lot, talked to almost nobody, and I believe I got holiday pay for it. Spoke with Lisa at length, quite a bit. There were several interesting items discussed, most of which were the same. We had an argument at the end of the talk, and I was asking her questions that she didn't particularly like. And I said the questions, and she answered some of them. And as is often the case when Lisa doesn't like questions that I ask, she just doesn't answer them. She'll say something along the same lines that has nothing to do with the questions. So I asked her, why are you doing this? This had happened like 4 times in the same night. I ask you a question and you just don't answer it. You just start talking about something else. Like I'll say, hey, have you read that book you promised you were going to read? And she'll say, nothing. And then I'll say, you were going to read the book and come up with a plan or something. And she'll say, well, you want to hear my current plan? Good way of sidestepping the issue. So I asked her some questions, and she said, I answered all your questions. And I just sort of waited and paused, and she said, what? You mean? And then she says one of the questions that she did not answer, that apparently she didn't hear. And I said, wait a second, if you've heard all the questions, if you answered all my questions, then how is it that you're asking me a question? You're telling me that there's a question that you haven't answered, that you didn't hear, but now you remember. How did that work? I don't know. Right then I realized Lisa doesn't tell the truth very often. She didn't realize that she was lying. She didn't know what to say. To me, that's probably the worst part. I don't like the fact that when I talk about stuff like my feelings or ask her to, do something or one of those sort of issues, that nothing happens. There's no result. I can fully say, hey, a perfect and classic example. There were this project she was working on. She has the 7 things that she does that she's working on. She says to me out of the blue, which I've probably talked about before, hey, I don't do these things anymore. I do the last 2, maybe that's what I'm going to concentrate on. Well, what have you done to, make the first 5 go away? Well, it doesn't really matter. What matters is I don't do them anymore. Okay, why don't you tell me what they are, and I'll, we'll talk about it. We'll see if maybe you don't do them anymore. Sure enough, turns out she does do all those same things still. And what a coincidence, I point out how she does, and she, argues about it. But eventually, when she agrees, yeah, she does do those things. 20, 30 minutes later, half an hour, she's right back to saying that she's working on the last 2 because she doesn't do the first 5 anymore. It's kind of like that all the time. It's like I say stuff, it happens, I say it, but it's almost as if if I'm talking like with headphones on or something. Like I say stuff and I produce the sounds, or I'm talking in a concert. I say stuff, I have thoughts, I say them, I it, sound is moved, but there's so much background noise going on that nobody hears what I say. And since she doesn't hear what I say, it's pretty much the same as if I never said anything at all. And that, I don't think, A, I don't think that's how love is, and B, I don't think that's how I want to live my life. On a rainy day in January, right now, today, it's not how I want to live my life.